Very good evening, friends. I am Rajesh Asudani Raqeeb, welcoming you to this episode of Through Literary Lens
This
with
is
Dr. Vinod.
Dr. Vinod Asudani.
Vinodji,
Yes.
our channel is named Through Literary Lens. That
Yes.
means the perspective of looking at the world is literary, which arises out of literature.
Yes. In other words, we propagate the idea that we must look around through the lens of literature.
Perceiving the world as it is through the literary lens means understanding it not only in a particular given way, but trying to look at the world, perceive the world through all the available valid angles in depth, in breadth. So, my question today is that why literature? Why, there are many things, sciences are there, religion is there, we understand why they are needed, what they are doing, right? But literature, many people feel that it's a luxury, it's not a necessary activity of life, it can be dispensed with. If we have time we will read, otherwise it's okay, it's not on their priorities.
Exactly. People believe that only those people read literature who have a lot of time at their disposal.
Like they are in the hospital bed,
Yes.
reading the books,
Or retired people or housewives who do not have anything to do, and therefore
and they also think it is just for entertainment,
just for the entertainment.
just for diverting the attention from the daily humdrum
And when
of
we
life.
talk to young people, they do not have literature on the agenda as their career. They do not want to enroll themselves for the literature courses. It is precisely because they believe that the literature does not have anything to offer to them or offer to life in general.
But I think it's the greatest fallacy we
Exactly.
are doing.
Exactly. Because other courses like courses in technology, courses in management, courses in medicine, courses in engineering and law, they will bring immediate benefit. They will help you to earn livelihood. They will help you to enhance your standard of living. Whereas if you read literature, you will bring qualitative change in your life. It will enhance the quality of life. That is the precisely difference.
Well, this is a very abstract thing, Vinodji. You said it will enhance our quality of life. What do we exactly mean by this?
In the first place, we need to understand that when we talk of quality of life, we are not essentially talking about the comforts and luxuries that one may possess in life. When we talk of quality of life, precisely we refer to degree of happiness and degree of contentment that he or she possesses in life. How far one is happy in life, that is directly in proportion to your philosophical and literary understanding of life, because it has been said by all the spiritual people and the philosophers that what you have does not make you happy. The way you perceive the things and ideas and people around you make you happy. So
Attitude is more important than facts,
than
right?
facts. So literature in the first place helps people
Refine our attitude.
refine our attitude to develop right kind of perception towards life and the world. Because after all, what I am, the way I think about myself, and where does this thinking come from? Because thinking does not develop automatically among human beings. That is again a misconception.
Yeah, the people say that innately we are capable of, having great ideas. All the education is hidden inside our mind. The job of the educator is just to, make it manifest. Many even philosophers have said it, like, even Socrates,
Aristotle, even
Yeah,
I believe Rousseau
yeah,
is of the idea
yeah.
that there are many things innate in us, and that only they have
But
to be
this is not
unfolded.
exactly true.
No, maybe in human beings may
Yeah.
be capable,
Inherent capacities are there.
yeah, potential
But
is there.
potential is there.
But until and unless the mind is not systematically trained, right?
And mind is trained by the experiences.
experiences.
And we have only 1 hour life to experience, but literature gives us the experience of many lives.
This is the very, very important benefit that we derive from literature.
Yeah.
That we can live our own life, a single life.
Yeah.
But single life is insufficient to have all the experiences that the thousands and millions and billions of people are having in this world. So if you read books, and that too good literary books, so you can gather the experiences of many lives. So in that way, experientially, one becomes enriched.
Yeah, like I here see a counter to this unbearable lightness of the being, where the author says that I cannot compare because it happens just only once. I don't have any births
Exactly.
to live. But here literature comes to our rescue.
Exactly. You can read the masterpieces and you understand the way the characters live their life, the way they face their life, the way they make decisions. For example, if you read Hamlet, a great work of Shakespeare, you understand that procrastination, indecision is a part and parcel of life. So you need to face indecision. You need to make you have to make decisions in life. Otherwise,
Or if you read Othello, you think the jealousy. Okay, should we be jealous for trivial reasons, the things we can't really understand, the things which are not told to us fully, right?
That gives us insight that we should not fall a prey to jealousy, because it is going to cost heavily in life. And if you look at Macbeth, another important great tragedy of Shakespeare, they talks about
Overambition.
how overambition is going to be detrimental, dangerous, and how it brings undoing of even the finest person, like that of Macbeth.
Or if you read Kitne Pakistan in Hindi by Kamleshwar,
Yes.
that has been translated into all the world languages, you realize the futility of the divisions in the name of religion and race and caste, which have been happening throughout the world history.
It also brings up the futility of war, futility of violence, bloodshed. That is all nonsense. And that is how literature
Widens and deepens our sensibilities.
or perspective. It helps us to widen your understanding of life.
Then if you are well read, even your day-to-day life experiences will hold a different significance for you. Suppose if you fall in love, you will have the background of the lovers who have lived the life throughout not only history but throughout the literary imagination.
In other words, I will tell you, the people who are well read in literature, and when they go for the love relationship, it is not simply the bodies that they love, but simply they love each other with their imagination. They love each other with their depth of emotion, and they have that aesthetic and artistic references even in their conversation. Even when they talk to each other, they may evoke the sensibility of great lovers that dwell in the literature. They may be reminded of the great love lyrics of Elizabethan time, of Spenser, of Philip Sidney,
or the
of
great
Shakespeare.
poets here of Sire Ludhianvi,
Exactly.
or Kaifi Azmi, or Majru, whatever.
Majru, or even
Ghalib and Mir.
So poets basically give the best and the finest expression to the emotion of love. So when you are well read in these masterpieces, and when it comes, that kind of situation comes in your life, you can enjoy it far more
in depth, and with a perspective.
And your
not only love but all the emotions,
all
the experiences of your life have their echoes in the past and beside you. You can really feel them through literature.
Right. And the person who is well read in the literature, he does not feel that he is in isolation in life, or he is in seclusion, because through the links of literature, he feels that he is connected to the past heroes and heroines. He's connected to the countless people who dwell in the literature.
And cliche is there, the books are our best friend, and really it is true.
Yeah, because if you look at books, right, you are going to find people who are exactly in the same circumstances, in the same situations in which person finds himself or herself. So this is literary connections, I would say literary links, and therefore you feel that there are many friends like me who have faced this kind of calamity, who have faced this kind of agony, who has faced this kind of failure in life, and this gives you a power to sustain through that crisis.
See, intellectually, they say we stand on the shoulders of the giants. I think Edison, he
Yes.
was it. But here I say not only we stand on the shoulders of giants, which is intellectually true, but even we sit in the laps of many of our friends, laps of many of our mothers, we hug many of our friends, we
See,
suckle at the breasts, I would say.
exactly. We
Yeah.
we we walk the path
Paths.
of life
Hand
hand
in
in
hand
hand
with,
with these literary
yeah,
figures, right? And another very important thing is that literature makes your life tolerable.
definitely.
Because life is a constant search for perfection, and we know that this mortal life is far from perfection. Perfection dwells in literature, in fiction. And when you are aware of this perfection, when you are aware of this idealized world, that utopian world which is there in the literature, that gives you a ray of hope that still there is something you can improve your lot. Although we may or may not be able, but that this sense of transcendence, I would like to say,
Yeah.
this sense of transcendence always helps you that there is still something to be achieved in life, and that simply keeps you going. And this is the greatest benefit of literature.
Yeah, if you read Browning, you may not have achieved much on in this life, but still you will be hopeful. That,
What Browning says,
yeah,
that the arc
Arc.
on the earth and full round
Full
in
round
the
in
heaven.
heaven. Yeah.
And the Browning gives you hope, right? And his famous line goes as such:
Yeah.
"What I aspired to be and was not
not.
comforts me."
Comforts me.
So this is something that will help you to stand up with dignity, with pride, even in the worst of moments of your life. When you feel that you are completely finished, when you feel that you are completely, put down by the circumstances, but at that time, if you remember these lines of Browning, again self-confidence will be generated. And
Literature gives you a multiplicity of the perspectives on the same situation, because it is a reservoir of what could have been, would have been, and should have been, perhaps. So,
exactly. And again, coming back to Robert Browning,
yeah.
he also tells you that we are immortal. We are not going to die with this bodily death. And in our Indian philosophy, we have been talking about immortality of soul, or transmigration of soul, or the theory that explains many births, right? It may not be acceptable to some of the religions like Christianity and Islam, but in Hinduism we have been talking that the soul does not die with death, and exactly the same thing comes from
Western
Robert Browning.
poet like Browning.
He says that what you could not achieve on the earth, definitely you are going to get in the heaven.
Well,
So
yeah.
this kind of
At least
perspective,
it gives you the perspective.
It gives you
Whether
the
you accept
perspective.
it or not, that is another matter.
Yeah.
So literature acquaints you with the greatest of the philosophical ideas without the obscurity of philosophy. It
Exactly.
concretizes the ideas in action, in story, in novels, in poems. So you are not, waylaid by the abstractions which are encountered in philosophy, but you encounter the ideas in the lived format of literature.
See, literature brings the abstract philosophy. It makes the abstract philosophy clearer by giving the concrete examples.
Yeah.
And it is better than the history, because history is limited to the real and actual events that have taken place. But the literature is better, although it may deal with the historical figure sometimes. It is better because literature is the product of imagination of the writer. Therefore, there is no need to remain faithful to what exactly has happened.
Like one example, today I was listening to Mughal Azam, the story of Anarkali and Salim and Akbar. It is said that Salim loved Anarkali, and Akbar, his father, the great, he is said to have killed Anarkali by entombing her in the wall. Now, when the film was made, this literary film called Mughal Azam, the ending was altered to say that Akbar actually did not do so. He sent her away outside the Mughal Sultanate. Perhaps he could have done so. did do it, we don't know, but at least it gives you what could have been or should have been.
And another benefit of literature is literature has integrating vision.
Definitely.
Everything is interconnected. There is no need to see anything
In isolation.
in isolation, in fragmentation. All the things are connected, right? From the supernatural, the nature, animals and plants, human beings, technology, science, all these things are very much connected.
I would say it is a counter to the reductionist, materialistic worldview of fragmented worldview, which is the hallmark of scientism.
And literature has a therapeutic impact as well.
Because all literature is essentially psychological. When you read any story, any novel, any author cannot afford to neglect the thought processes of the characters. Essentially, the author dwells in their minds and hearts and tells us what they are thinking, what they are intending. All literature is essentially psychological.
Exactly, because all fine arts, as Aristotle puts
Yeah.
it, they are imitative arts. Literature imitates life, but it is not simply servile copying or mimicry, but it is a creative transformation of life.
As Joginder Paul, a famous Urdu story writer, says, it is not the function of literature to simply report. Anybody who simply reports is a newspaper reporter. He is not
Exactly.
an author.
Exactly.
Right?
Because the literary artist recreates life with aesthetic touches. Because the ultimate purpose of literature, if we ask what is the aim of literature, the aim of literature is not to convey any message. Aim of literature is not to reform. Although if the spirit of reform is spread as a byproduct,
Yeah, that's
that is
okay.
welcome. But the ultimate aim of literature is to impart pleasure to the readers. It simply makes you feel joy. It makes you feel delight, happiness, rather bliss. That is the literature.
And through literature, you can partake of the shared cultural and emotional experiences, which is very important in today's day and time, because today we have grown hyper specialists and hyper isolated, I think.
Uh, what one of the modern thinker was saying, that today we have developed languages of
Yeah,
specializations, right?
yeah.
Doctor can understand its own medicinal language, and technocrat can understand technological language. So literature provides you a common ground of conversation and common ground of communication.
Still, it is the link
Yeah, it is still
between
the
the
link.
domains where everybody can really, partake of the wisdom and knowledge and entertainment and everything.
Imagine there are certain literary books, stories, and poems, and they are read by the entire community,
Yeah.
whether the person is carpenter, painter, engineer, doctor, lawyer, teacher, professor. So they will get a common themes to talk about. They will understand the common phraseology, common idioms, common proverbs. So this is a connecting link among the people who otherwise belong to different professional domains. And this is really needed because we are living in the age of super specialization. We do not have to do anything with the language and the vocabulary of the other profession.
Yeah.
So in such a scenario, when we come together in social gatherings, etc., you must have realized that the people have nothing to exchange with one another. Because if I am a professor, I cannot communicate with the technocrat. If somebody is a physician, he cannot communicate with the lawyer. But if all these people have, imagine, read some literary works, so there are the topics to talk about. They have the common language to exchange, and this sense of unity is much needed in today's world.
Like I remember somebody asked Abraham Lincoln, a budding lawyer, asked Abraham Lincoln, a law student, what should I read? I'm doing my law degree. He said everything except law.
Exactly. So we would like, I also like to
Yeah.
tell our listeners and viewers that if you are pursuing a particular course as a part of your career, you start reading something which is not prescribed in schools and colleges. So
Definitely.
that is essential. And
And many a time, this reminds me your phrase, prescribed, Vinodji.
yes,
My personal take on literature is that it depicts what is not described or prescribed many a times. What
Exactly.
is generally overlooked in the society, it is not described. You will find it is described in stories, novels, or poems. And what is not prescribed, what is prohibited many a times, that is also taken up in literature.
And now I will come to the practical uses of literature.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, reading is a stress buster, because
definitely.
when you read, unconsciously you are giving vent to your suppressed emotions, thoughts, and feelings. Because in when you read a particular novel, say, and you find that whatever is taking place in this novel, and you identify yourself with the characters and believe that as if you are acting out all the things that are taking place in the novel. So thus, in real life there are many things that we cannot do.
And it gives a scope to your imagination. If you see anything audiovisually, then your imagination is blocked. You are
Yes.
presented exactly what is happening and what is not. Whereas in literature, there is an ample scope for you to exercise your imagination.
Right. And then if I talk of the young students, if you read literature, naturally your word power will improve. You will be able to express the subtle shades of emotions and thoughts and ideas in an appropriate manner.
You'll be able to better write a love letter.
Exactly, you can approach your exam in a better way,
Yeah.
because your vocabulary will improve like anything. And then literature also helps you to enhance your concentration power, because when you are reading, it cannot be a passive reading, it has to be active reading, because you have to understand what is taking place in the book, right? What is taking place in the story. And when you read poems, then you have to really work hard. You have to decipher, you have to understand
The
the
subtle shades, the
subtle shades of emotion,
symbolism.
symbolism,
Symbolism.
the different layers of meaning. So reading poetry is really a laborious exercise, and if you do it successfully, take it from me that you can improve your concentration power like anything. And if you improve your concentration power a bit, it is going to be a great help to the students, to all the people who are working in the different domains.
And does it matter, Vinodji, if I pick up a book, traditional paper book, paper bound book, or an online book?
I believe that is a matter of habit, right? The people, right, who are in 40s and 50s, they will prefer to read book in a hard copy, and but the younger people are quite comfortable reading books online on Kindle and on other all these digital platforms. But that is okay. That is a matter of the personal choice. I won't advocate that it's essential to read a book in hard copy or soft copy. That is absolutely left to the choice of readers.
At least, but it should be a book or it should be a literary work,
Literary work.
not simply the one liners floating on the WhatsApp and
And definitely, there are hundreds and thousands of poets and writers, yeah, that you can definitely read. But if you're not started reading literature, if you're a beginner, I would advise you that you should start with short stories. You should start with novels, and from India you can read Mulkaraj Anand, R.K. Narayan, and Rabindranath Tagore,
Tagore.
Ruskin Bond,
Definitely.
definitely, and then American writers like Alan Poe, and then there's Catherine Mansfield, D.H.
Yeah.
Lawrence,
Yeah.
and many more, right?
Yeah.
There are thousands of
So
writers.
gradually your choices will be widened automatically. You would look at many other writers and authors and will be attracted by them. So you will be lost into the maze, I should say.
And nowadays,
You know?
it is the age of translation,
Yeah.
right? All the languages are, the books from the different languages, they are getting translated into English. And recently, Gitanjali
Gitanjali
Shri.
Shri's novel, Ret Samadhi in Hindi originally. It has been awarded Booker Prize for English translation, Tomb of Sand.
Right, so we take this opportunity to congratulate Gitanjali Shri
Definitely.
for this wonderful honor. She has brought a prestige to the Indian languages, because it is for the first time that the novel, which was originally written in Indian language, that is in Hindi, has finally got International Booker Prize.
Yeah.
So, friends, you can read literature in original language, you can read literature in translation, but you must read literature because it is going to bring about a qualitative shift in your approach, in your attitude, and it is going to bring qualitative improvement in your life as well.
So we definitely hope you will read more and write to us more. listen to our episodes more, because we do take up a literary work each time and talk about it. So, till the next episode, bye bye.
Bye bye.